I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with my co-host.
Take.
And we're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave us and put us through a horrible pandemic. Please end the con job 19. Can we end the CIA Black Sun apocalypse? Can't like move out of the way to see that one little.
I love it. This is, I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for not knowing more details on this, but people suddenly started sending me these things, right? The challenge. I guess they put out some kind of challenge. And so I'm getting all these great memes from people everywhere that I think Sid is putting together, right? They put this statement on there, they throw their picture up, and kind of say, hey, can we end this silly nonsense already?
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great fun. I mean, not great. I mean, it's just it gets to a point now, right?
Well, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. You have to. You can either laugh about it or cry about it, right? I'd rather laugh. So.
Yeah.
Silly attempt. I
saw today. Like today it was 70 degrees in New York and not a cloud in the sky, right? It was gorgeous, right?
Oh.
And I just think people just can't. You're not going to be able to keep New Yorkers in apartments, right? In a city where like your apartment is not really where you live. Like you live in all the little coffee houses and restaurants and bars and parks that the city has, right? Everybody. That's why people will pay, $3,000 a month for 500 square feet of space. Because all the other things the city offers, like you just took that away from people, there is no way people are staying indoors. No way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway, I had fun making these. Anyway, had to develop, like what font to use, and played around with a bunch of different ones, but it's all in good fun. It's not that difficult. Anyone could do it. Actually, if anyone wants to, have some quick lessons on things, I'm willing to go ahead and do a class on how to go and put these things together pretty easily. There's some very simple tools, all online, and you can put things together pretty easily. Not great amount of skills, right, required. It's just kind of copy paste, and there you go. You get that, and you can find.
There you go.
Yeah. See that even the main.
I like it.
Yeah. So I also did a very quick FrontLines focus with Wesley Rice, who wants to get involved and take a step towards helping in this great awakening, the efforts to get rid of the cabal. And so we did a quick video for about 20 minutes last night. So anyone else that wants to jump on, we'll do another one also with Wesley, and have him get to where he's putting it up on his own YouTube to get started, and then we'll start also doing BitChute and the other places as well.
That's great. Good idea. I like it. It's starting to grow, man. It's starting to catch fire right now, I feel.
Yeah. These memes. Yeah. These memes are also pretty good for that as well.
Yeah.
So what's
catching up?
So what's going on? Any news from Kim?
Thank you. Yes.
There is
no news from Kim. Not that I'm aware of at the moment. She, weekends. I know she goes. I mean, she never stops working like a lot of us, right?
Right.
But she. Oh no! Can I get the? There. Yeah. But it's yeah. So, but so I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I just expect that she reconfigured the whole post office, right? Like here in New York, it's insanity. Everybody thinks we got plastic barriers up everywhere, and and masks on top of that. Nobody's allowed to talk anymore. It's crazy. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's time to end this con job. 19.
And the CIA Black Sun con job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know, there's a protest on the California beaches. Everyone in California should just head to the beach. If everybody goes, what are they going to do? Herd immunity time.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. And I'm really, this is disturbing, right? So, this time, you probably are familiar with this, right? In Sacramento right now, what is it called? It's like the plankton comes in, and you have this bioluminescence.
Oh yeah,
called, right? Like at nighttime.
Yeah,
it's beautiful, right? I've seen it before, and so that's happening, right? I guess it's only a few days, and so Lane was out there the other day with all these people at the water, I guess, and just appreciating it, enjoying it, right? And the police came out. Now, everybody was social distance, right? They're just there enjoying the magnificent, phenomenon that happens on this planet. It's incredible and beautiful, and you're standing there harming no one. Everyone's 6 feet apart, and like everyone's like spaced out. Came and they told everybody to go home, right? And Lane was like sheep, every single person just turned and started to walk home.
Yeah, I know. Ignore them. Surround them peacefully, right? They come in. Everyone just surround them. Make a big human wall. And just say no. No, you go home. You're violating our rights.
It's worse. I would say the police, they need to stop. They need to stop. I see it already. I see it already here with the cops. They realize, this is out of control, right? So, where they were actually harassing me with different things, right? Because I'll be out, doing conference calls every night of the week, all the time, and they know, they've definitely targeted me for things, but they can't do anything with me because I know my rights. So at the end of the day, right, they're like, now, with all this craziness going on, because these guys know I've talked to them about what I do, right? The local cops have said, look, I'm fighting for everybody's freedom. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm like, to be honest, you're the one that questioned, not me, right? And they know that's right. They know it's right. So you got to think, the police right now, all law enforcement out there, you should be coming together. The sheriffs, the law enforcement, you should be coming together to support the people, because there's an agenda where they're trying to use you as one of the first tools to commit genocide, right? And they created a militarized police state, and they've convinced you that they are going to pull it off, and the only way they're able to do that is if they get you to act this way. So stop it. This thing is bullshit. This whole virus is an absolute farce. Everybody should be, at this point, I'm like, are you kidding me? In New York, they're saying we're not going to open back up till June. What, I just watched David Icke, and he said, he made a great point. He said, he goes, well, look what they do, right? If you have all these individual businesses, it's very hard to take control, right? Because you have all these people that are individually successful. Right. Do you know how many businesses they've destroyed by doing this?
Yeah.
It is and then, oh my gosh, I am going to take this clip of Alexandria Cortez, and I got to tell you, it's the only time I ever saw anything from Alexandria Cortez where I was like, holy cow, I'm going to have to share that and say positive things about it. She said, she was like, who the hell is Steve Mnuchin to tell people? He says he's giving out $1,200 to subsidize people's liquidity for 10 weeks. What? Where does this guy live, right? This people making decisions about our money, right, and what they're going to do as they demolish, the small business income, the week-to-week worker, which is the majority of the population, right? and you take them and you destroy them. And this idiot's talking about $1,200 will subsidize people for 12 weeks.
Well, you know, I'm absolutely positive.
10 weeks.
I think that he's absolutely at one point in his life, Steve Mnuchin, maybe even last week, paid $1,200 for lunch.
Oh my gosh! Of course.
Yeah.
They don't even look at those things. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
fact,
I'm sorry about your problems. I've been too busy making it rain.
Yeah.
Guys.
A lot of these restaurants and things where the elite elites would go keep other people out by price.
Sure, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's so this whole. But I gotta say, AOC, it was the. Now she tailed off at the end and kind of pushed off into a message about socialism, basically, But she is right from this standpoint. It's just the wrong approach. How about this approach? How about we discuss redressing the grievances of the people that you just demolished their business with a completely fraudulent reporting?
Yeah.
All of this fraudulent reporting on this COVID-19. And I'll tell you something, there is no statute of limitations on fraud. So I'm putting that out there for anybody who's of a mind frame to pursue this type of thing, which I am. I'm always looking for ways to, to kind of to bring, reestablish our rights, or not even reestablish, but to claim our rights.
Yeah.
It's almost like you got to look for the ways to try to violate and take advantage of us, and tell them no. Like, hell no, you are not doing this, right? Like, don't wear a mask. It's ridiculous. It's a lie. The real science behind this does not support it. There is no science supporting the use of masks as a realistic way to stop this. Even the WHO has said, the WHO's come out and said, by doing this, by wearing masks. Now, they're the same ones who told everybody to wear masks.
Who?
Exactly.
Who?
Who's on first? Who's up first?
What's on second?
So, exactly. What's on third? But anyway, so the point is that they come out, they say it will actually cause other health problems later. And of course it will, because people aren't getting, exposed enough to corona to create a proper immunity to it, which is what they want, right? So right now they've expected that the death toll would be higher, right? Because they had all these other things that they thought would have mixed in and caused real death tolls to skyrocket.
Yeah.
So what they've done, this is so awful. I mean, you can't even believe it's really happening, right? But if you think about it, it's like, okay, so you cry out to the world, how are we going to survive this? Dr. Colleen Smith is out there talking about people are dying, right? Well, of course they are, right? People are going to die because that's what happens.
Yeah,
right?
when you're
Especially
80 years
heavily
old.
populated areas.
When you're 80 years old and you have other ailments, people are going to die.
Now, people are really going to die when you don't treat them. You stop standard medical practice, like charting their progress.
Yeah.
You have people that are on certain medications, right? Like you have certain blood thinners that have to be constantly monitored because their pH levels have to be a certain way. There's certain things that so they have to constantly have adjustments. You just eliminate that one thing, and those people will bleed out internally in no time.
Yeah.
But there's 100 other things like that. You have people that go in with it. They go in because they're, they have their blood sugar goes through the roof, or their blood sugar drops. Right? You got to go in and restabilize them. But if you're not doing that because you're afraid of the COVID virus, what's happening? I mean, what will take place, right? Of course, people are going to die. Of course they are, right?
Yep.
And they're going to die. You expect to die in greater numbers, right? Now you want to create a monster. All you do is you take that information and you lie about it, right?
Yep.
You just create a lie.
Yeah, and now that it's all unraveling, right? That you have funeral directors coming out, you have doctors coming out, you have everyone coming out saying this is not right, right? And you have armed protesters, you have people now standing up. That's why I say, go to the beach, go to the parks. Everyone should just go, right? And then just politely tell the police you are violating our rights. Maybe whatever we should put out that whatever this section or code is that says so that they have it handy, right? Keep it in their wallet. Here you go. No.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say
something
there's a
else.
protest at City Hall.
Something else. I didn't want to forget this. William Barr. I missed this, but he had basically said that an emergency an emergency status does not negate the constitutional rights. So you can't you can't do this. So William Barr's already out there saying, Attorney General William Barr says you can't stop people. This was voluntary, right? This was voluntary. We volunteered to stay home because of an emergency. We were told by our authorities that we put in place for our benefit, our servants that were there to monitor things and said, hey, there's a problem, stay inside. Okay. But now, no, not going to force us to stay inside when we know that it was a bogus report.
No, you know what? It's worse than that. Because, yeah, it's a bogus report. And you are fraudulently and continually perpetuating a lie. And how can people make sound decisions when you're telling them that this is worse than the Spanish flu? That the world has never seen anything like it. Are you out of your damn mind?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's such insanity.
It's totally falling apart on them, and so I put this one now with the toilet paper. It's because this is where this con job goes. Con job 19 needs to be flushed, right? And what happens the next time around when there actually is a problem, right? We have to voluntarily go inside, or we ignore them.
I was just sitting in the parking lot. I was just sitting in the parking lot just now when I just said that to you just now, and this is how much the public sentiment has changed. I've had people want to push me out of stores, and just now there was a woman in another car, and she was like, "Yeah, you're right," like yelling at me. That's how much it's changed.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's good we're standing up, right? And that's what we need to do. This is the time we need to stand up. Even General Flynn says we need to stand up. General Flynn is coming out, right? And I something dawned on me yesterday. I haven't heard this anywhere else. So yesterday, while I'm catching up on all these news events and listen to the Bards of War more on General Flynn and what's happening with him, and it dawned on me, General Flynn. It was a railroad job. It was a con job. Right? They wanted to catch him in something, so they had to orchestrate it. There is great evidence to show the smoking gun that Obama was involved directly, because on his way out the door, right, President Trump's coming on in, right, Obama expels 15 Russian diplomats because of Russian interference in the election, forcing them to call General Flynn while he's on on vacation and drunk, right? And so does he remember everything? He says he didn't remember in those reports. But the whole point is that Obama was part of the setup. He's the one that fired those Russian diplomats. When that happened, I said, "Now, isn't that unusual? He's on his way out. Why would he do that?"
Yeah.
Right?
Big setup.
Right. Now, General Flynn actually said had two things that were covered in this conversation with the FBI on what he may have been discussing with foreign nationals. So we've heard about him talking with Turkey, right? As like one of the things. Oh, see, this is the Logan Act because he had a conversation. He was representing Turkey, a foreign power, right? And he shouldn't have done that. Right? All right. So, but the other thing that was also he was doing that nobody talks about, what he did talk about with the Russians on that phone call when they called. Number one or two things was to postpone or to not vote against Israel, right? So there was an Israeli vote coming up. So that was where so there was a conversation about Israel. So why didn't they mention that? Right? Because they don't want to put focus away from Russia, right? So the only thing that he was advocating on that phone call was to help Israel. And they're against Israel for whatever reasons, that is. Whatever reasons Obama was, the worst president ever for Israel, right? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you have two different factions, right? Because Israel,
Rothschild and Black Sun.
represents.
So
what's that?
I said the Black Sun and Rothschild. So Israel is on Rothschild's side.
Right, so that's the Rothschilds, right? And Netanyahu. Obama was over the Black Sun.
Yeah.
So here's evidence of your two warring factions, right?
Yeah.
And none of them care about us. They make all these decisions with the assumption, like, look, we're both going to kill 90% of the people. The question is, who's going to be in charge afterwards?
Right.
Yeah, that's all they care about. That is I had a conversation with somebody today, right? Who is we'll say a would-be whistleblower, okay? And the individual worked inside one of the major New York hospitals, right? I don't want to say anything to get him in trouble, right? But one of the major New York hospitals. And this is a couple of years ago. And in this, they were trying to force the employees to be vaccinated. And the individual was like, no, I'm religious. I have an exemption because of my religion, right? And they were basically like, what's your religion and whatever. They basically wouldn't acknowledge it. So he started doing all this research, right? It became a big ordeal. And he came across all of this research that he had access to by working there that showed that the CDC was saying specifically to target religious leaders to force vaccinate so that they can achieve these numbers so that everyone there, they would get a certain bonus because everyone had been vaccinated. And that this was the goal. And there was a whole connection back then, and this was 2017, talking about COVID-19 and how this was the ultimate goal. I mean, and this was like insider reports of information that people don't have access to, right? And they fraudulently, they did all these things that we had to like file a case, and then they basically had it investigated, and they demonstrated they were biased against him, right? Because of his religion, and they were trying to focus on people that they saw as religious leaders that worked for them, that they could, win over and like force them to perpetuate this idea of being vaccinated. You know, the mass vax and why it was so important to get vaccinated, things like that. And I just thought, man, it just never stops.
Yeah.
Like, and eventually, you know, and he won. They confirmed that he was discriminated against. They did target him, and it was because of his religion. And they said you have 90 days to file a suit. But he got scared, right? Because his lawyer was doing the same thing. His lawyer was hurting him as well, right? Like was of course, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of stuff is anybody who doesn't think this has been a long-term plan, and this was, I can't say the hospital. So this was NYU, right? Hospital, which is a big hospital in New York, right? It has a lot of sway, and they were trying to use them as the model for how to do this. So they knew that there was a virus coming. This is why Farsi gets up and talks about it. This is why they were warning people on the West Coast. You know, the special ops guys were at the ports warning people, not warning people. They were telling people who traveled back and forth from China that they would get special access because there was an outbreak of they said a SARS virus, right? There was going to be an outbreak, and they were going to quarantine everyone into the stadiums. That was 3 years ago. It's on public record. We put it out. I mean, I was on Utah's call, right? And I put it out several times since then. But I'm saying before any of this happened, they were talking. This was got to be at least 3 years ago. But so this is not a oh my gosh, this happened and they accidentally made some bad administrative decisions, you know, because they didn't realize it wasn't as big a deal. No, this is a controlled demolition. This whole thing, it is just like the World Trade Center, only a different manifestation.
Right. Yeah, that's just another. You're right. Controlled demolition of the world, and it's failing miserably. Yeah. So it's good that we can see that that they are failing. Right. That's the good thing. You know, and we need to assist in that as much as possible. Take whatever steps, and this is really time. You know, to end this con job 19. We really need to take go to the beach. Everyone, you know, if you have a beach near you, go. Right, and then have your picnic, hang out with everyone, and realize that that this was brought in and spread by vaccines. People who actually had caught it was because they took a vaccine. Flu shot. They don't even call flu shots vaccines, but that's what they are. Right? Oh, did you get your flu shot? If someone says vaccine, they say, oh, I don't want a vaccine. Right? Oh, you want to get your flu shot? No. So, it's just an attitude shift, right? So they again, play with words. Change the words of things. Gee, you find anything with aspartame in it anymore? No. They changed the name. Why are they allowed to change the name? I mean, isn't the point of labeling things so that we know? We all learned that we don't want aspartame. Oh, now there's sucralose. So
it's the point. It's the point of language in general, right? Like the reason why you want people to speak the same language is so we understand things to be the same, right?
Right. So, what is a resident?
I don't know. That's why I want people to speak the same way. This is what's on my mind right now. Like very clearly on my mind is I want with the New York Assembly coming together and bringing this documentation together. I was trying to think where can you have the most effective first strike, because really we're digging out of a hole here, right? They're trying to bury us alive. So I'm like, you know what? The first strike is, the fact of the matter is, William Barr just said this, right? You just said, you cannot take away people's rights. Well, if you're telling me that business can't be open, a business can't be open because, Like this is a willing. The people have decided to stay home, and they made this decision based on false data. I'm pretty sure that violates our human rights, is therefore a crime against humanity, because they have not provided informed consent to explain what is actually happening. Instead, you've created so much fear and perpetuated it and repeated it that no one knows what to do. So everyone's staying home, that, just in case we want to get grandma sick, right?
Right.
So you're creating fear and depression, right? And everyone's like, nothing will ever be the same. Are you kidding? Nothing will ever be. Thank God. Let's make it better. Because what it was ridiculous. And what this is retarded. What we're talking about right now is so absurdly beyond even talking about. This is a flu epidemic, and it's not even an epidemic. It's just a flu.
Right.
Right? Because the real biological weapon didn't make it in. Because they wanted to use 5G, but they got counteracted.
Yeah.
Because all of the source energy that gives people life, that everything's made out of, quantum particles that connects everything, those things were reversed to come back through the system. So the system they were trying to draw our energy from to lower our frequency, so when the super high 5G came in, they could destroy us and force us to do whatever they wanted. It got reversed on them. So all that energy came back into us. So people started waking up. And people now, they're feeling full of life. They're healthier, they're stronger, they're vibrating at a higher frequency. So that super high 5G frequency doesn't have the same effect.
Yep.
So imagine.
And also,
you're strengthening you the whole time.
And Trump has been eliminating, the technology side, the chips that the Chinese were using that allowed them to control it. Removing Huawei, and informing all of. There's something also recently that Pompeo came out with just a couple days ago and was saying that we're enforcing that any of our partners that take on Huawei equipment, that we will not be able to trust the information coming through that method. So they won't do it. So they will be cutting. So that actually a big deterrent, right? Because
What's Huawei again?
Huawei is the telecom giant of. So they create the equipment for 5G, right? So it's the Huawei 5G.
Yeah, gotcha.
That is the. Some people say it's Hui. So however you would like to pronounce.
It is Hui.
Yeah. So it is Hui. It is Hui. Yeah, Hui, Huawei, Wahui, Wow, whatever they call it. It's an odd thing. It's the phone that I keep WhatsApp and Skype on. Let them battle it out for who's controlling.
one phone you should never use.
Yeah, so it has a battle between the Blackson and the Rothschilds all in one phone.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like people tell me, it's always like every people send to me messages like in Telegram, and it's let's Skype. let's do a video call on Skype. I go, no, we can use Zoom if you like, but we cannot use WhatsApp or Skype. And then I send them the information that I get from the founder of Telegram. Right, he has this Telegram channel. He puts out this information. Every other story he puts out or blog that he puts out is about here's what WhatsApp is doing to the world, right? And why it's not secure and so on. And it's why do you think the people from WhatsApp left? All the founders, they left because they didn't want to be part of what was happening. So they sold out. They sold out the Facebook.
They tried to create a secure app, and instead they have this.
Yeah. So WhatsApp was a great idea in the beginning, right? But all great ideas get purchased by Microsoft and then turned against the world. Windows or DOS. They made Windows, but they stole it, the idea, right? So, they took the idea. I don't know if they really stole it because it was given out freely by Xerox, a window-based environment with a mouse. Well,
Yeah.
Even the web browsers, right? They took that away from Netscape. Netscape owned it, owned the whole marketplace, right? But
Didn't like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates go and test out something from Xerox to find the mouse? It was like Xerox.
Yeah, it was Xerox. Xerox that basically had developed the technology at their lab, right? And they let people come in and take a look, right? And Steve Jobs went, but before Steve Jobs went, there was another guy named Jay Miner. Jay Miner was who started Amiga computers that was bought by Commodore. This was really advanced computer system, far more advanced than the Apple in the first. I mean, it came out 1 month ahead of the two-color Mac with a little screen, right? We got the blue and whites, two-color Mac, blue and white. It wasn't black and white, it was blue and white, and you had the one mouse, and it would turn on and it would say hello, right? So, that was the big innovation. But the month before the Amiga came out, it had 4,096 colors, full screen animations. You had stereo sound, and could connect to your TV, or to a monitor, and had what was called a preemptive multitasking hardware and software compared to it was really so far more advanced. We're really talking about giraffes to dinosaurs. The dinosaur in this conversation would be the Apple. What Microsoft came out with would have been, compared to the giraffe, would have been, I don't know, a salamander.
A rock.
Something like that, I don't know if it might be the right thing. Well, it's a reptilian, so maybe that's correct. So it very, very, very much outdated. It's just the people involved, right? Just think about it. There were wasn't a great engineer. No, not saying that, but there were much more brilliant people being used in the world, right? That worked in the established hierarchy of stuff and they built the Amiga. One of those founders also went off to is the guys that developed the original technology for VoIP, which became Skype, and they sold out to Microsoft. So Skype is owned by Microsoft. Hotmail is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft just buys these things; they don't invent them.
No, I know David Hayden. He developed like one of the first voice-over internet, programs for, and they got stolen from him.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he probably, if he was good, he was probably working with the guy's name was Dale Luck. So there was.
David worked. He worked with a lot of guys. I mean, he worked with a guy who developed blockchain as well. I mean, it's still a good friend of his. But I mean, David's. He's he had a stroke, so he doesn't communicate as well. But still pretty sharp.
Yes. I think that there's a lot of good technology that we never get to see. Amiga was out there, but it never would be put into the limelight on purpose because it was being used by Black Ops, right? NASA used the Amigas. Right. To this day, I bet there's still an Amiga tracking and keeping track of all the different satellites for NASA. Because you said
it's the same Commodore 64, right?
No, Commodore bought them, right? But the Amiga was much more advanced. The Commodore 64 was an ancient, same kind of line as the Apple II, the Apple computers, right? This is, you know, it's kind of like when technology first hits, right? You've got people that take it and run with it, but when it hit, right, there's other people that are already well established with let's say military technology is always 30 years in advance, right? So the people that that grabbed the technology, would be 30 years in advance, right? That if they apply it, it will be a much better product, right? And that's what happened in regard to that. So Commodore didn't quite own it. I didn't. They bought it, but they didn't deal with it. Actually, the funny thing is they were going to really make a new system that really would have wiped up Apple and Microsoft. It was called the Ranger, and it was and when they were dealing with this is before PlayStation, right? And they had put out a game system that was called CD32 that they joint ventured with Sony. So Sony was working on the drive mechanism for this CD game system, right? Very much more advanced. And when Commodore was playing a stock market game, right? They wanted to lower their stock of their price, so they start closing all of the retail stores, right? Anyone that was anywhere where they were selling the Amiga computers, they were closing down, like they're losing money. They made up a show to show that they're not doing well. It wasn't the case at all, right? They're doing really well, but they made a show to drive their stock down because they knew when the CD32 hit, it was going to be such a great success that their stock was going to go through the roof. So they're trying to force the price of it down so they could buy it all up cheap and then take the ride up. Right.
Sure.
And instead, because Commodore had already done this once before, drove the price down, almost on the verge of bankruptcy, renegotiate their debt. This time around, the bank said no. One of them one of their creditors was actually American Express, and they basically, I think, pushed them into bankruptcy, and at that point, that everything got sold off, and we were, so it never quite, the CD32 it came out, but it never got to, move, right? And then Sony ended up taking the drive mechanism and made PlayStation. So that's so the stories go, that this is just this greed mentality, right? Part of the stock market. The stock market is just a casino. All of these markets are casinos. The only problem I have with them is that they don't tell people they're casinos. Right. I don't care if you go to a casino, right? But you should know that that's what you're doing, right? And it's a big gamble. They inform everyone, but the only one that always wins is the house, and it's the same in a casino and same on an exchange.
Yep. No, they know all the factors, all the pieces. They're manipulating all the markets. They're controlling every. There's this guy here in New York, right? Adam Weitzman, right? He created this. He created like a way to recycle steel that's like 40% more efficient than the typical way that they recycle steel, right? And he owns like a shredding company and gathers steel all over, right? So he was with one of my former business partner, right? And he was like, he give us advice and stuff. And so one day he's there and he goes, look, steel, the price of steel right now is down by this much, right? He goes, now I can raise the price of my steel right now. He's like, and it'll probably, you know, um, crash the market, or I can do that. He goes, but I'll be able to do this tomorrow. And he said, or I can lower the price, sell off more, and he's like, but it'll stabilize the market. And it was just amazing that one decision. He just let my business partner make the decision, right? And they watched the market, and it was incredible to us because like, my God, like we had no idea it was that easy to change things, and he did it right there on the spot.
And just think that what Trump is doing in the basement of the White House with the plunge protection team and the Exchange Stabilization Fund is he's playing the market to make it a win for everyone. Now, of course, he allowed it to drop, right? Just like they let the Fed raise the rates in the beginning so they could complain about it, so they could bring it down, right? And so it's part of the game, right? And he's using the stock market, the casino market, right? But he's gonna give everyone a big payoff on it before it all disappears, right? Before the Fed money disappears. So he's buying up. There's more trillions lined up to roll in, So this is again, it's all the funny money. We're not talking about Kim's money, but this funny money that they're using to buy up Wall Street is all coming from the Fed through these special purpose vehicles that all got put into place when and as I said before, the Fed was made into the Treasury's bitch. Whatever whatever they want to spend, they're going to basically back. So there is a transition happening. Even this other day, Jerome Powell did he read a speech, right, about how the Fed is going to be there to put out the money, and then he opened it up to questions from average people. I've never seen anything like that. I wish I had missed it by 2 hours. If I knew that was going to occur, I'd figure, how do I get on this? That would have been
right.
But that goes towards repairing the image of the Fed, right? Because there'll have to be some repairs as it's restructured and brought in, but I don't see a reason that there should ever be an income tax anymore after this. Because number one, you're not going to have to pay the debt, right? Because that's the only reason for the income tax, to pay the debt on the loan that the government borrows every year. And every year they have to borrow more, so that's why every more they get more and more you have to pay in. So now since you're gonna see all of the through these special purpose vehicles buying up all of Wall Street. They said all the municipal bonds, right, and stocks. Well, they're focused on telling you it's to support the city so that they can sell their bonds, right? The special purpose vehicle is going to buy them. Then that means who owns the debt of the cities?
People.
The Treasury / the people.
Oh, the Treasury.
Right. Well, yeah, because they're all under the Treasury. So all of the stocks all the companies are going to be in control of the special purpose vehicle. So why should you have to collect any tax if all this profitability comes in from the companies? So that all of Wall Street could be harnessed to basically pay from their profits, their corporate tax, and the corporate tax can carry everyone and cover, if there's Medicare for all, that would be a place where it would be funded from, right? Not from on the backs of the people. The people shouldn't have to be paying these kind of taxes.
Right. I mean, income tax is illegal, first of all.
Sure.
Right, unlawful. Right.
Yeah.
No taxation without representation. The 1040 easy form, the first letter on the 1040 easy is the letter B. Letter A says for government employees only.
Yeah.
Right. So they inadvertently force you into becoming a government employee.
Right.
Which is ridiculous. Right.
Yeah. What's the title of your job?
I don't know.
Person. Person.
Oh, person. Oh, okay. Yeah, so, all these things like right now, knowledge is power, right? I mean, knowledge is power if you use it, right? Knowledge is useless if you don't. So, knowing these things doesn't do us any good if we don't do anything about it.
Right.
Yes, I'm in the process of working with a business here to try to get them to stay open, right?
Yes.
And so I'm kind of taking my first attempt at, writing up the documentation and making sure it's lawful, right? That I'm not overstepping any bounds or anything. But then it got brought up to the president of the assembly, some other businesses, right? Because Cuomo, he pushed it back from May 15th. Now it's June 1st, right? And even though death tolls are at an all-time low, now they canceled school, right? So to make matters worse, right? So school's not going to start back up. They're not going to, even though this whole thing is it's based on a completely fraudulent information. They're not telling the truth. So I'm trying to figure out how do we put them in a situation where they have to show why they're making this decision, and they have to demonstrate that it's true, so that we can actually go in and investigate it. So, I'm working on the actual grievance, right? Because we have to. This is the whole point of assembly, to redress the grievance. Well, I have a grievance. The whole country. I mean, everyone, but here in New York, it's like they're still sold on the idea that they're going to somehow pull this off. That's the thing.
Yep.
It's like you're not going to pull it off.
Yep. Well, it's falling apart. So that's the good thing. We can see that's happening. And we need to assist in having it fall apart at this point, because we know that it's really much more of a big lie. Bringing up this, I was thinking a little bit earlier, was like, okay, there's always a part of this, like, well, how dangerous is this, right? Is there actually even a COVID-19, a Wuhan virus? Is there one that's spreading around the world? Is it actually there? Or was it just, people that took the flu shot? Right? Which is it? And remember that, we're talking about George Webb the other day, right? And what was he doing there? He was saying, that there is a virus. It's been weaponized. It comes from the bioweapons field, and that it's been done this way and all this. But that all says, okay, well, now it is a weapon. Well, it's either a benign virus, or it's a weapon that's cocked and ready, can really, really kill you. So which is it? So this is kind of a part of this problem. Now, and so is it? Are we safe in going out in mass right now? That's what it comes down to. And when we listen to those two doctors that from Kern County that came out, and they said, here's the numbers. It's 0.02% or 0.03%, right?
Is it 0.0?
Point
0.03. Okay,
0.03 something, right? And now there's the numbers that were from yesterday. Running the numbers, it was 0.003. even less deadly. So, and then still, it's the elderly that are at risk. The people who already have compromised immune systems. Those are the people that are at risk at this. And the other component to this was the 5G.
Actually, I would say that's not even true. I don't even think that's true.
Okay.
I don't think they're at risk even from having a compromised immune system. I think they're at risk from having a compromised medical staff, because they've got them all convinced that they can, don't do compressions, don't. So standard care, they're not practicing, right?
Right.
So there is a standard of care they're expected to utilize, right? So now George Pataki, the former governor of New York, he came out today on Twitter and said that he has just filed some kind of grievance against the mayor for the way he's handled the nursing homes, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I think that there's not many people that are brave enough to come out because they're too worried about risking their public image to say, look, this is a freaking scam.
Yeah.
This is not the scourge of humanity they portrayed it to be. There is not the death tolls that they're reporting.
Right.
And what you really have is horrible negligence from the medical staff because they've been told a lie, or they just don't care, or in this case, what we can actually, it sounds like, based on the conversation I had tonight, that we might actually have evidence that this was a long-term plan that they had in place for. Yeah, we know it is, but we might actually have the evidence, the hard evidence to prove it.
Yeah, and I think that's happening. That's why Fauci has now been muzzled by Trump, right? You know, he's not allowing them out. They're not doing these conferences anymore. Now it's talking about reopening. Oh, see so much going on. So it's too much to keep up on. So Trump had this conference, a big boardroom thing going on. He's talking with things. Mnuchin was there, and what they talked about is they had restructured the post office.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I downloaded it, and I was going to edit out those pieces because it mentioned it a couple times, right? And it's a a pretty long piece, and I couldn't, if I had a time marked where to go, I'd pull it up right now and show you. But they talked about it. I'll get it ready for tomorrow. But this is this means to me that it sounded like they had restructured it from a while ago, not like this week. I don't know how long ago they restructured. They put in a board on it. So I don't know how what that is. I don't know any details, but he did say that they had restructured it, coming from Mnuchin. So I don't know how long ago, but I do, and they mentioned a couple, and Trump brought it up a couple times. I mean, it's just not the normal thing that they talk about. So they're bringing the post office front and center.
Like, most people already get. Why is that relative? And we had somebody go into the post office today. Andrew Collins actually went in, and he was saying how he was asking them some things about the post office was going on, and they didn't seem to have a clue. However, they did say that they were helping with cashing the checks for the emergency relief checks, right?
Right.
So
yeah,
and they said if they had cash on hand, right?
So that makes sense. So that they start picking up and doing more things for the whole process of cashing checks and getting. They're the source where you go and get your money, right?
Well, I mean, the post office is open, right? So, like, you can still go to the post office, actually walk in and do business. Whereas the banks, for the most part here in New York, they're closed.
Yeah.
Like you can go to the drive-through, but you can't just go to the bank.
Well, I like to point out also is that there is a way of creating a virtual debit card. That means you don't have to have a piece of plastic, but it's just an app on your phone. Have it here in the Philippines, right? So most people, that don't even have a bank account, right now can have this app, and it gives them a virtual debit card, and they can go up to an ATM machine, and they can punch in numbers on the ATM machine.
Uh-oh.
All right, and the ATM can spit out money, right? Just from a PIN code that's an SMS coming from the system, right? So you get like your how much is going to come out. You put that PIN code in your phone, so it knows it came to your phone, and then you go and put that PIN code in. So you have your account number you have first put in, right? But then you get the PIN code through your phone, then they know it's you. Right? So that's available. So I can see not even using banks, but just this type of an app to access funds and get cash out of the post office. Again, I don't know if that's what Kim has planned or anything. I just see how things could happen.
She did tell me that. She had put something like that in place in case of emergency. If all else failed, we could go get money that way. So yes, she's definitely made plans for that. And then now, I would say I'm still anticipating that we'll have some kind of wallet app that we can use on our phone, and that we can have direct access to the funds and function. and I'm hoping that is sooner than later. You know, that it's something that's going to roll out here. I'm disappointed a little bit that it didn't come out this week. I really thought that was going to happen. You know, but hey, what date was it that they were talking about that? Was it yesterday or today?
That was yesterday. It was yesterday, so it was very, very, like, it was brought up at least 3 times in this 1 hour, right? You know, and it's so, which I don't have it logged in. You know, all I could do is play a video. I'll bring it up just to show you what it looks like. Oh, actually the name is there. It's a Trump hosts roundtable with CEOs to discuss reopening plan. That's the name of it.
You know what? Screw that. The fact that they're there and there's not a proper representation of the people, to me, still pisses me off. Like, you should be calling us. No, seriously, you should be. You should be calling us or somebody else who's on the ground, in the grind, and going through this bullshit with these guys as they sit there and take everything from everybody. I don't care what any CEO has to say. They don't know who we are, who the people are, or what we need. The same way, look, AOC said she nailed it. She nailed it. What does Steve Mnuchin know about, $1,200 less than 10 weeks? Come on, man. I mean, are you kidding me? That's insane. In New York, you couldn't even have a 1-bedroom apartment for a studio for $1,200 in 10 weeks. What about all the other expenses? You know.
Yeah. So here, I pulled it up so you can see it. I'll just play a few minutes. It's an hour. Oh, it's an hour and 11 minutes long.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so it's an interesting amount of time there. So.
They're doing a reopening, but they're great companies and they'll do very well, hopefully better than ever before, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing tremendous pent-up demand, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So it's wonderful to have American industry leaders, and that's what you are, true leaders, to the White House. You've been here before, all of you.
No, they're not.
We've talked about it in different...
Well, they're not.
Yeah.
How are you a leader, with all the advantages that you've had, the lies and the manipulation? How is that leader? You're not leaders. What you are is you are the most privileged, and you've done very average things with your privilege. Yeah. That's my biggest pet peeve. The idea of pandering to people because they have money, to act like they're exceptional because they have money. And in this case, especially because the people that do have money, it's not, maybe in some cases, but it's usually not because they had exceptional ideas and perseverance and hard work ethic. It's because they were privileged. They had every advantage in the world. They were part of a fraternal order of, pedivores that, stole, lied, and cheated to devour anything that could change the world. It just promoted very average ideas, allowing us to have a glimpse of things, but never the real full potential. Allowing us to use amazing technology to entertain ourselves, but never to really grow. That has to stop.
Here's Mnuchin. Let me see if this is the thing or not. Hang on.
Over a year ago, asked us to chair a postal task force to look at restructuring. A year ago, we didn't have any board of governors. We now have a board of governors that's overseeing it. They're conducting a search. We look forward to hearing the results of the new postmaster, and we think this is a business, and the people at the post office will have a terrific opportunity.
And we're protecting our post office, by the way, and we always will. But we want our post office to be successful. We don't want it to be a laughing stock and a stupidly run organization the way it's been for so many decades now. It's ridiculous. And then we make other people rich. We make other people rich because we're willing to deliver packages at a fraction of the cost. So other people gain by it. And by the way, you're hurting a lot of other people because you're hurting retailers. You look at stores where the stores they have to pay rent and taxes and all sorts of things that these companies don't have to pay. So it's not a fair situation. We want to take care of our taxpayers, and we want to take care of, very, very importantly, the people that work at the post office. Yes, please.
Mr. President, if there is another round of aid for
Okay. There's a couple places where they talked about it. So that was definitely one of them. So they said they started over a year ago, restructuring, and they have a board of governors. That's what I thought was interesting.
It is interesting, but when Steve Mnuchin says the restructuring, that doesn't help. That doesn't make me happy. The last thing I need is any piece of his hacks in there doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, great. He basically just told us, saying, hey, don't worry, Deep State, we're also planted in the post office. It's like, fire everybody. Get them out of there. People are suffering. Do your job as a government and get rid of this domestic terrorist that lives in your house. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Steve Mnuchin tell me anything about anything ever again. He's a thieving scoundrel, child rapist. He should not be allowed to walk around free. Why do they have this right to have evidence that everybody knows is there against them, and they do nothing?
Yeah. Well, I see, that there is a lot of people that have been, from the time Trump arrived, right, in there, he was surrounded by snakes. Right? So he has to end up using snakes to get rid of snakes. Eventually, there'll be no snakes, I think. I think how it comes down the line. It just takes a while to get to that point. So I know that it's horrible to think what has happened there, but if these are just these steps and he's moving through, just having the post office now they're able to do something is a miracle. I've never thought that would have been the case. I know we had talked about this post office option, some months back, right? Said okay,
sure,
right? Well, there was no word of it, but now here, boom, it's there. When both when they're trying to send out the money and they're not able to, right? And then there's all these conversations about how the money was diverted. Some of the companies said, well, we didn't even ask for the money, and it came to them. Some of those companies, right? So how'd that happen? They didn't apply, and they got it, and the people that do apply don't get it.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Doesn't make any kind of sense.
So unless you know that they're stealing it, and this is
except for that part. That's the part. It's like, hey, we're paying you off, so you guys got lucky, so do we. This is what my concern is. Every time I watch Kim break through and do the impossible, right? She pulls off the upset, does something incredible, right? And you give these tools to like Trump is supposed to be having a meeting with the postmaster general, and he gets it now, and he's and now here they are having we want to build up the post office restructure, blah blah blah. It's like, what are you talking about? Are you talking about that like you're going to make us wait another 6 weeks, another day?
Well, I see.
First of all, get off your ass and get this done.
Well, I would think that
people are out here locked in their homes.
Yeah, I know, but it's like the restarting of the engine, right? You have to get the first piston going, right? You have all of them fire at once. There's some conflict, right? So, and then also people are looking for leadership. Part of the style that he's putting out there is, here's the business leaders. Yeah, we're turning on. We're going. We're going fast, right? And then he's saying, and we're going to be in the fourth quarter is going to be fantastic, right? So I think this is just part of his game plan on how he manages to move through the next couple of weeks. Okay, so it's all this back and forth, right? Now this is fairly, mundane. Like, not many people are going to be now listening to this anymore. They were engaged on on his daily briefings, right? where we heard him giving us the battle report against the hidden enemy alongside of what's happening with COVID. Right? So people were engaged, right? But now it's about talking with business leaders that who's interested, right? Yeah, you're not interested. You know, I'm interested slightly, right? But most people are not. But what's good is that they know, oh, it's starting, and that's all that comes out of this, right? So that's what I see.
You know, this is bullshit. First of all, this has been a process that has taken years. I've been part of this personally for years. The entire system has been rebuilt, right? Right now, I don't care about the political correctness. I don't care about the sham show they're putting on there. Stop parading these low-life pedophores up in front of me. Now promise me you're going to arrest people. Oh, it's going to happen. There's secret, sealed indictments. Big effing deal. What the hell? It's like me saying, like, I've got potential energy, but I'm not using it. Big deal. So what? So you're basically saying you could do more, but you're not? That's all they're saying.
Yeah.
All of this that's what every sealed indictment is. Every single sealed indictment. And then, of course, you let it slip, so-and-so got arrested. We hear people get arrested all the time. It's how you keep everybody at bay, right? Oh, yeah, there's trials going on in Gitmo. Okay. Where? Who? Who's being arrested? Not a single one of your primary characters that you're allowing to parade up in front of us and embarrass the country, the people, everyone who puts real work into life, who loves their children, everyone who loves their spouse. You get up and mock them and ridicule them. You say horrible things about a president who loves the country, right? And then we sit here and watch Steve Mnuchin. Well, and Steve Mnuchin, look, this is the guy who organized the parties to force everybody there in the Treasury to have sex with a little girl, and he took a 13-year-old himself and imposed himself on her. Where do these kids come from? Where do they go? Let's stop pretending like this is all okay.
It's not okay.
Like, everybody's got to be freaking furious. We get look at this like, oh, hey, we're making progress. No, hell no. How can we make progress if these people are still sitting in office? They're still on my television telling me what's going on. Why does he know what's going on? That guy shouldn't be allowed to do anything. And every one of them just like him. Cuomo should be pushed out. They got lots of dirt on Cuomo. Get him out of here, right? And I'll tell you, I see the police and everybody else. All these guys have been compromised somewhere. Not all. I'm saying like all the ones who are willingly participating and contributing to this lie, this farce, right? It is time for you to stand up. If you're there and you're worth a damn, if you're a cop, if you're a law enforcement, you're in the military, you're in politics, stand up and do the right thing already. It's embarrassing. And I'll tell you what, if they don't, I swear, we will reestablish, and I will come after every one of them. Because, you know what, this happened yesterday in Sacramento. These cops, they take like 33 people in, right, for standing on a sidewalk outside of City Hall, making too much noise. What the hell gives them the right to take them into custody at all? Put them in handcuffs. They had weapons. They pushed them. Today, Sandra R.A., who's with us she's the state director of California for Lawful America, and she's there. She's bruised up because they were pushing around the baton, and then they forced them to sit in the basement of the Capitol building and stay there for hours. She missed her bus to go back home like 4 hours away. And luckily, somebody donated a flight to help her get home. But why should they have to do that? What right do these cops have? It was the Highway Patrol. What right does the Highway Patrol have to unlawfully arrest people for protesting, which is their right, for a false pandemic, a fake bullshit? I'd love to see the statistics on everyone who's been to a protest. How many of them got coronavirus? How many of them died from it? I bet it's zero. Right. This stuff happens every day. Those cops, And I'll tell you what.
You know?
And here's what we do. Because you know what happened is we got her out, right? We got her out at a reasonable time. Like we made some phone calls. Michelle Walker is a beast, right? She called up. She hit him with a 18 U.S. code 241 and 242. We're gonna put that on T-shirts for the next protest, and basically got them to let her go in like 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? I know how people think. That should be enough. They let her go. To those cops in Sacramento, you didn't do us a favor. You did not do us a favor. Right now, we've got a former U.S. Marshal with 38 years experience, a active federal judge who are right now drawing up charges. We're going after them.
Excellent.
And I'll tell you what, I don't feel an ounce of remorse about this. We're going after everybody. These people want to mess with the people. The people need to have somebody who's standing up for them. So believe me, and I'll tell you, our team, it's just right now. We're already formidable, but they're relentless. They will not stop. I watched today how that unfolded. I couldn't believe how much they already had done. Meetings and people pulled together, ready to go to war. Because this has got to stop.
Yeah.
Policy enforcement, they shouldn't even have any power over us. The sheriffs, you should be enforcing the Constitution, which is for the people.
Right. Not the
Right.
corporation. Not the corporation.
Not the corporation. You work for us.
Which are the policies, right? They're not laws. They're policies of a corporation. Yes, please stand behind the yellow line before wait your turn before the next one comes up to get their fast food order in. These are policies. These are, this is just to maintain order within the restaurant, right? This is not the law, right? If you step over the yellow line, you don't go to jail. They ask you, please leave the restaurant. and then, of course, we can't leave our country. We're here, right? Your overlap of your fast food restaurant that goes from border to border, it doesn't matter, right? It's not the country. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Hey,
that's right.
Yeah, I want to cover one more thing. We're at an hour and 20 minutes, a little long today, but that's okay, right? It doesn't matter. But I want to say that we have General Flynn has. We're talking about him coming out or getting off with being exonerated, right? Okay, General Flynn being exonerated. It's the biggest story because it is the one story that should carry everyone under the understanding is that the Russiagate was all a hoax, another hoax, and the Russiagate con job and con job Russiagate, right? All right, so that's the biggest story. What is all the other mainstream media talking about? Are they talking about the biggest story of the century? No. They're talking about Joe Biden and asking about the Tara Reid questions, right? The hard-hitting news. They're asking these questions. Now, to me, this screams setup. They knew that this was what they were going to do from the beginning with Biden. He's been set up to do this from the beginning, that he was going to be moved out. I can even say they probably used some kind of brain waves, at him to make him feeble, right? Sacrifice. Yeah. Right? And they as soon as this came out, they start asking these questions, right? And so this is a setup. They're only asking these questions now, these hard-hitting news questions.
Look sympathetic to show, look, we really are hard-hitting journalists, right?
Okay. But they're
going after one of our own.
Yeah, but no, it's so sick what they're doing because all this #MeToo movement has died with what they've done. Because now they're saying it's not just listen to the women, have the right to you have to listen, you have to believe the women, right? No, not in their case. You have to believe the women and then investigate the women. So this is...
Wait, are they supporting Joe Biden on this?
they're
I
still.
misunderstood. I thought you said
It's. I mean, the news media is not, but the people they're interviewing are still riding both sides of the fence. They look ridiculous, right? So one of the potential running mates, the black woman, I forget what her name is. But anyway, there was an interview with her, and she was talking about this, and she was, riding both sides of the fence, still saying, we have to look into this. And what did Joe Biden say? Right? Even Joe Biden, they're bringing Joe Biden, asking him the question. All of this while the biggest story, Flynn, now has proof that he's been exonerated. That he was set up. It was railroaded. That's coming across, right? So all this information is coming about. The only great thing is the mainstream media, and this is all of them said not one word about it. Not one word. It was ABC, CBS, NBC, the old school, and then you have all of the new school, MSNBC, CNN, CNBC. None of them brought up even one word about these new documents that are basically saying that Flynn is going to be exonerated. So this is a scam. This is another scam. They planned this out. The whole thing with Biden. The whole thing even with and sorry to say this for Bernie, right? Bernie was meant.
Yep.
It was set up to fall on the sword as well for the same reason. He just went along with it. He knew that he was never meant to really, it's his. He's the controlled opposition for the socialists, for the leftists, right? He just gathers them all up into a package for them. So, this is they're scamming all of us. When you want to talk about it's not about your particular side, left, right, center, leftist, conservative, socialist, capitalist. Doesn't matter, right? Because it's us against them. If you're not one of them, you're one of us, right? If you want to be one of them, you're gone, because we're going to be rolling over them and taking them out of their power positions across the board.
You know what? For the record, I hope that's true. I really do. You know what? Because you're saying this. We're gonna do this. This is gonna happen. This is what they're doing. Okay, General Flynn being exonerated is amazing, but true to form, nobody knows. Nobody even understands the significance of it. They don't realize this is the biggest story. This is uncovering the biggest conspiracy.
Yep.
In the history of the United States, right?
Yeah, it is
Nobody
Obama.
knows.
It shows that Obama was responsible, right? I knew it was the case anyway, but it's the smoking gun is that he fired the Russian diplomats to have the phone call made by the Russian ambassador to General Flynn, the incoming administration. He's supposed to be talking to him. He's supposed to accept those calls. He lied because he was drunk while the call happened. He didn't remember all the details accurately, and he told them so. Right? He didn't lie, but he was forced to say he lied. Right? That's the other thing that the media will say. So, see, he admits that he had lied. He admits it. Well, he had to, or you're going to indict his son. For what? I don't even know what they were going to get his son on. What unrelated to this. They say, we're going to go after him now. So, like any father, he would save his son. So.
All these perverse tactics that they want to, implement. I feel like the only way around it is you have to anticipate all of this well in advance, and you really have to mount a formidable force of civilian law enforcement. I mean, I can't get this to move faster, or I would. But I'm just so disgusted by all of it, and how simple it is, how blatant it is, right? They're committing crimes right in front of us, and they're not even apologizing. You know,
Right.
they just keep promoting it and showing like we don't care what you want,
Well,
right? So you have a very clear mark, or you line in the sand, right? Where it's like it is us versus them.
you know, I think it's why
And,
I think it's so important what the Bards of War, that one episode from 2 days ago, 3 days ago, that we put out there, the letter from General Flynn, and why in 30 minutes he could describe everything that was ever going on and how it's been put into one small package that says we had already lost the country. We were just asleep and didn't know. Right? Right? It's already was taken away. This was just the mop-up operation. Like it's like you wake up on the bus when the bus is already, at the station. You missed your stop, right? You were sleeping, right? You get disturbed by them, mopping up, taking out. So what do you got to do? You got to like get up and say, now how do I get back to where I was and where I need to go, right? And that's where we're all at right now, just figuring out that hey, we got to get back to where we were. That means you got to stand up, walk outside the bus, go down to the beach, hang out with all the other people, and say, hey, look what's going on. Look at the stupidity that they've been putting us through, right? What about your business? What about my business? What about my job? What about your job?
yeah.
So we're there, right? This is the time to do the wake up. Anyway, I think we're good. We're an hour and a half. Let people go to sleep. You probably need to get some sleep too. I
Probably should.
I actually took another 4-hour nap this morning after I woke up. I worked on those memes, and I fell asleep for 4 hours.
That's a good day. That's a good day.
Yeah.
All right, Dan. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, everyone. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.